These are customs and immigration questions that can cost you $1,000 if you answer them wrong at the airport. A routine trip can become a $1,000 problem in seconds. CBP officers don't just check passports, they listen for trigger words that lead to extra screening, seizures, and civil penalties. I've identified the exact questions that cause the most trouble and how to answer them. In this video, I'll show you how to answer the 7 riskiest questions so you keep your money and avoid the side room. Let's start with question number 1, cash and monetary instruments. We'll begin with money because it triggers the biggest mistakes. You're at the counter and the officer asks, question number 1, are you bringing in more than $10,000 in cash or monetary instruments? So here's the scene. You just wrapped up a great business trip or maybe sold a small property abroad. You're carrying the equivalent of $12,000. No, that is a catastrophic mistake. If you're transporting more than $10,000 in cash or monetary instruments into or out of the United States, you must report it. This reporting requirement exists to help track money laundering and other financial crimes. This includes cash, traveler's checks, money orders, and certain negotiable instruments. When you say no, you're not just telling a little white lie, you are making a false declaration on a matter of national security. The consequences are severe. Customs and Border Protection can seize the entire amount of undeclared cash right there on the spot. On top of losing your money, you can face civil penalties, and in serious cases where they suspect criminal intent, you could even be looking at prison time. So, what's the right way to play this? Simple. Be honest. You can report it by filing FinCEN Form 105. Yes, I am. I have $12,000 in and I've filed the form. Yeah, it takes a few extra minutes, but it costs you nothing. Lying, on the other hand, could cost you everything you're carrying and then some. And remember, this rule can be applied to a group. If you're traveling together, CBP may look at the total amount your group is carrying. Question number 2. Value of your purchases. From cash, the next trap is what you bought. Next up is the one that gets many vacationers coming home with souvenirs. The officer glances at your form and asks, question number 2. What's the total value of goods you purchased abroad? Imagine you went on a shopping spree in Paris and dropped $1,200 on clothes and gifts. For most returning United States residents, the personal exemption is generally $800. To save a few bucks, you just write down $750. Seems harmless, right? But here's the thing. That officer knows the prices of common luxury goods. They're trained to spot when things don't add up, and those X-ray machines see every single new handbag and pair of shoes in your bag. If you undervalue or fail to declare items, CBP can treat it as a failure to declare. The item can be subject to seizure or forfeiture, and the civil penalty can be equal to the value of the item. So yes, your $1,200 shopping purchase can quickly turn into a $1,200 penalty. The right way to handle this is, again, just be straight up. The total value is about $2,200. Have your receipts handy if you can. You'll have to pay duty on the amount over your exemption, in this case, on $400. CBP may apply a flat duty rate on eligible amounts over that exemption. That tiny cost is so much better than a huge, unexpected fine and can mean more questions and longer inspections on this trip. Now, question number 3, food and agricultural items. After shopping, the next surprise is what you're carrying to eat. This next one is the silent budget killer. It seems so innocent that thousands of travelers make this mistake every single day. The officer asks, question number 3, are you bringing any food, plants, or animal products? You've got a perfect ripe mango in your carry-on from a local market, or maybe it's just an apple the airline gave you. It's one piece of fruit. You check no on the form, because who cares about an apple? They care. A lot. That question isn't about your snack. It's about protecting the country's entire agricultural industry from devastating foreign pests and diseases. A single fruit fly larva hiding in that mango could cause billions of dollars in damage to crops. Because the risk is so massive, the penalties can be substantial, often hundreds to thousands of dollars, especially if prohibited agricultural items are not declared. The right move here is to declare everything. Yes, I have an apple I got on the plane. Often, if you declare the item up front, they may simply have you dispose of it in a designated amnesty bin. That's it. No fine, no lecture. You lose the apple, but you save yourself a major headache. The rule is simple. If you eat it, if it grows, or if it came from an animal, just declare it. Question number 4. Personal use versus commercial. From food, we move to intent, personal or for resale. With everyone having a side hustle these days, there's a new minefield at customs. An officer might look at your bags and ask, question number 4, Are these items for your personal use or for commercial purposes? Let's say you found an amazing deal on 20 designer handbags and you're planning to sell them on eBay or to friends. To avoid import duties, you tell the officer they're all just gifts for your very large family. That is a giant red flag for CBP. Officers are trained to spot patterns that scream commercial activity, not personal shopping. Bringing in a bunch of identical or similar items is a classic sign. If the quantity looks commercial, you may lose your personal exemption, face additional duties and taxes, and risk seizure if it was misdeclared. The correct answer depends on your real intentions. If the items are genuinely for you or as gifts, say that with confidence. These are all for my personal use or as gifts for my family. But if you're bringing in resale quantities and describe them as personal use, you are taking a huge risk. The only safe answer if you plan to resell is to declare it as a commercial import. The rules are different, sure, but they're meant for business. Don't risk a massive penalty just to avoid a legitimate business cost. Question number 5. Your status. After intent, it's who you are, citizen, resident, or visitor. This question gets right to the heart of why you're even allowed to be there. Any hesitation can land you in a secondary inspection room. Question number 5. What is your citizenship and immigration status? Let's say you're a lawful permanent resident, a green card holder, but you overstayed a visa years ago. I'm just visiting. This is an immediate red flag. The customs officer has your entire travel and immigration history on their screen in seconds. Any answer that doesn't perfectly match their data tells them you're either very confused or you're actively hiding something. Lying to a federal officer is a serious offense. False statements to the United States. Government can carry serious criminal penalties, including prison time. For a non-citizen, it could mean being banned from the country or even deported. The right answer is the simple, direct truth. I am a United States citizen. I am a lawful permanent resident. I am a citizen of Canada, traveling for tourism. Have your passport and documents open to the right page, ready to go. Just answer the question they asked, and don't volunteer extra information. Be calm, clear, and confident. Question number 6. Country of origin. From status, we shift to where goods were made. This one is for more than just business importers, but it can definitely trip up savvy shoppers. It's about where your goods were made, not just where you bought them. Question number 6. Have you correctly declared the country of origin for these items? Here's the scenario. You're importing electronics. You know that goods made in China have high tariffs, so you have the shipment sent through Mexico and declare the origin as Mexico to get a lower duty rate. This question typically matters more for people importing goods for business or resale. This is customs fraud, plain and simple. Country of origin means where the item was manufactured, not where it was purchased. With all the trade tensions and special tariffs out there, CBP is focused on this kind of fraud. Getting caught doing this can be financially devastating. Penalties can be as high as the entire domestic value of the merchandise. Individuals can be held liable and even face criminal charges. The only correct answer is the factual one. For a regular traveler, this just means being honest. If you bought a watch in Switzerland that was made in China, its origin is China. Misrepresenting where something was made to save a few bucks on duties is a high-risk game that customs agencies are getting very good at winning. Question number 7. Final confirmation. After origin, your last safety net is the truth check. Finally, we come to the last safety net, the officer's final chance to help you before you get into deep trouble. After all the other questions, they might look you in the eye and ask, question number 7. Is all the information on your declaration true, correct, and complete? You've already handed them the form. But now, you have that flicker of doubt. You suddenly remember the cured ham your cousin gave you, or that the watch you bought was actually $1,000, not the $700 you wrote down. You're tired, the line is long. You ignore the feeling and just say, yes, it is. That yes just turned a simple mistake into a willful false statement. This question is the officer basically asking, are you sure you don't want to fix any mistakes before I have to charge you? Saying yes when you know something is wrong can be prosecuted as a false statement to a federal officer. It's no longer an accident, it's deception. The right thing to do is to just pause. Take a breath. If you realize something is incorrect, this is your best opportunity to correct it before it becomes a larger issue. Say, actually, thank you for asking. I just remembered I have a small ham in my checked bag. Should I have listed that? Or, let me double check the value of that watch. I might have gotten that wrong. Correcting yourself shows you intend to comply. It turns a potential problem back into a simple administrative fix. More often than not, the officer will appreciate your honesty and just amend the form or have you dispose of the item, no penalty needed. That final question is your last, best chance to save yourself a lot of trouble. Navigating customs doesn't have to be a trap, but it does require you to be a smarter traveler. I'm Alex, and I want to know, have you ever been grilled about a piece of fruit or a souvenir? Let's warn others in the comments below. And if you're worried about what else they might find, you need to watch my breakdown on the new 2026 electronics rules right here. Those AI scanners see things differently now. Don't get caught off guard. Safe travels, protect your wallet, and I'll see you at the gate. If you want to keep traveling smarter, safer, and protect your wallet from costly mistakes like these, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And please, share this video with a friend or family member who loves to travel. You might just save them a fortune. At the end of the day, the secret to a stress-free border crossing is honesty and preparation. These officers are pros doing a job, and they're reading your body language just as much as your words. Before your next flight, spend 2 minutes on the official CBP Know Before You Go page. It's the best $1,000 you'll ever save. I'm Alex. Hit subscribe to stay a step ahead of the rules, and I'll see you at the next gate. Safe travels. So here's the most important tip of all. Before your next international trip, take 5 minutes. Go to the official United States Customs and Border Protection website and read the Know Before You Go section. That tiny bit of homework is the best defense you have. Tap the end screen to watch my video on airport money rules. It will give you the confidence to answer every question clearly and make sure your trip ends with great memories, not a financial disaster.